Coming up on Citrus TV News, 5 men from Lockerbie, Scotland biked to Syracuse to honor the victims of Pan Am Flight 103. Citrus TV reporter Lilia Wood has the details.
And a rose-laying ceremony in the Remembrance Garden at SU to honor the victims of the same flight, Pan Am 103, 30 years after the tragedy. And the suspect in the attempted mail bombing targeting several Democratic Party figures will appear in court. Citrus TV News starts right now.
This is Citrus TV News live at 6, your campus news leader.
Today marks the last day of Remembrance Week at SU, the annual events that honor the lives lost during the Pan Am 103 bombing. Good evening, I'm Connor White.
And I'm Rebecca Castor. For the 30th anniversary, 5 men from Lockerbie, Scotland cycled thousands of miles, matching the distance between Lockerbie and Syracuse. They wanted to finish the journey the 35 students were not able to complete.
Citrus TV reporter Lilia Wood is here to tell us more about the Cycle to Syracuse Lockerbie Memorial Tour.
Thanks, guys. The 5 cyclists from Scotland completed their journey that totaled 3,238 miles yesterday afternoon on the promenade. The cyclists were led by bagpipers to the front of the Shine Student Center where the ceremony took place.
To remember them not as victims, but as terrific human beings who had a future that we will enact through good acts between our 2 locations.
Of the cyclists, 4 are emergency responders and 1 is the head teacher at Lockerbie Academy.
You know, you had a fella that was on the tour that watched the plane explode in the air and was the first responder on the ground. You had another man from the Royal Air Force rescue team that was there an hour later and had the unbelievable task of finding the dead. And so these men have been through some of the worst horrors you can imagine in your life, and they are the most positive people you'll find.
The men experienced all type of weather as they cycled up the East Coast during the last leg of their journey. Lockerbie students helped rack in miles around their campus for the first leg. Then, the cyclists rode 70 miles for the second leg before embarking on a plane across the Atlantic.
It's hard to ride a bike 600 miles. It's hard to ride through Washington, D.C. and New York City. It's hard to ride through the hills of the southern New York, but they did it all.
Each year since the tragedy, a Remembrance Scholar here on campus represents one of those 35 lives.
I was looking around the other scholars, it has been such an emotional journey for all of us, and I think so far that's been the most emotional.
Along with honoring the victims, the ride also raised awareness and money that will go towards a mental health counseling organization in Lockerbie.
So I had tears in my eyes just kind of listening how, you know, it's a symbolic trip that they've made that our 35 students did not complete. And I was just looking at my pin with Kenneth, like he never got to finish that journey.
The Lockerbie cyclists arrived in Syracuse just in time to participate in SU's annual rose-laying ceremony that took place this afternoon to honor the 270 victims that lost their lives on December 21st, 1988.